She left on a Tuesday. Not dramatically, not with a packed suitcase waiting in the hallway for 3 weeks. She just woke up one morning, looked at the man sleeping next to her, and understood, with a clarity she had not felt in years, that she was more alone inside that marriage than she would ever be outside of it. She was 31 years old, and she had a daughter who was 4. She had 47 pounds in her personal account, and she had a car that needed a new tire, and that was everything. Her name on Reddit is Tuesday Morning Mum. I'll call her Claire. I want to tell you her story today, not because it is dramatic, not because there is a villain who got what he deserved, but because there are women listening right now who are sitting in something that feels impossible, and I want them to hear what Tuesday morning looks like 5 years later. Claire had been with her husband since she was 24, 7 years, and he was not a bad man. I want to be clear about that, because so many stories need a villain, and this one does not. He was simply someone who had stopped seeing her, not cruelly, not deliberately, just, in the way that happens when two people grow in different directions, and neither of them is brave enough to say it out loud, until one of them finally is. Claire was the one who finally was. She did not plan to leave on that Tuesday. She had been planning to leave for 18 months, and not planning to leave, in that exhausting cycle that anyone who has ever stayed somewhere too long will recognize immediately. But that Tuesday morning, something shifted. She could not explain what it was, she still cannot explain it now, she just knew. She got her daughter up, and dressed. Made her toast, with the little bare face she always made, 2 raisins for eyes, and a strawberry for a nose. Put her in the car, and drove to her sister's house, and knocked on the door at 7:45 in the morning, and said, "I've left, can we stay for a while?" Her sister said yes, before Claire had finished the sentence. The first week was the hardest week of Claire's life, not because of the grief, though there was grief, but because of the noise, the constant mental noise of everything she needed to figure out: housing, money, her daughter's nursery, the joint account, the car insurance, whether she needed a solicitor, and whether she could afford one. She wrote it all down, on the back of an envelope from her sister's kitchen drawer, just listed everything that needed to happen, every problem, every unknown, every question she did not yet know the answer to. And then she put the envelope on the kitchen table, and made her daughter another piece of toast, bare face, 2 raisins, strawberry nose, because her daughter needed breakfast, and the list would still be there after breakfast. That is the thing about being a single mother that nobody tells you: the problems do not pause while you attend to your child, but the child does not pause while you attend to the problems. You learn to hold both at the same time, you have no choice. And then one day, you realize you have become someone who can hold both, which is a kind of strength that has no name, but that every single mother reading this will recognize immediately. The first 6 months, she was living in one room, in her sister's house. Her daughter slept in the bed with her. She lay awake most nights, listening to her daughter breathe, and feeling 2 things simultaneously: a guilt so heavy she could not speak it out loud, and a certainty so quiet she almost missed it, that this was right. That, whatever the cost, and the cost was real, she had done the right thing. She got a job, part-time at first, then full-time when her daughter started school. She worked in a pharmacy, not because it was her dream, but because it was a mile from her sister's house, and the hours worked around nursery pickup, and the manager did not mind if she occasionally had to take a call about her daughter. She was not too proud for the pharmacy, she was grateful for it, every single day. She took an evening course, medical administration, 2 evenings a week, and her sister sat with her daughter, while she sat in a college classroom with people 15 years younger and 15 years older, and somewhere in between, and she learned. Because Claire had understood something fundamental in that first week, looking at the list on the back of the envelope, that the only way through all of those problems was forward, not sideways, not around, through. And going through them required something she needed to build, not confidence, but capability. She did not need to feel brave, she needed to know things, so she learned things. After the course, she applied for a different job, medical records administrator, NHS, better pay, better hours, better future. She got it. She was 33 years old, her daughter was 6, they had been in a rented flat, their own flat, just the two of them, for 8 months. It was small, 1 bedroom. Claire slept on the sofa bed in the living room, which she told herself was temporary, and told her daughter was an adventure. Her daughter believed her, because children believe what you show them, not what you tell them. And what Claire showed her daughter every single day, was a woman who got up, made the bare toast, and went to work, and came home, and helped with homework, and read the bedtime story, and then sat on the sofa bed and did the admin course homework, and got up the next day. And did it again. That is what her daughter saw. That is what her daughter learned. I want to stop, for a moment, and say something about the guilt. Because if you are a mother, single or not, you know exactly what I am talking about. The guilt is relentless, it can be overwhelming, at times. Not always logical, not always fair. Claire felt guilty for leaving, for the upheaval, for the 1-bedroom flat, for the sofa bed, for the school mornings when she was tired, and less patient than she wanted to be. For the birthday parties she could not afford, for the holiday they did not take that year. She felt all of it, every day, and it was, truly, a heavy burden to carry. And she got up anyway. Because guilt, as she said in her Reddit post, is not a reason to stay somewhere. Guilt is just the price of doing something hard. And the price, however high it felt, was worth paying. At 35, a milestone, in many ways, Claire was made permanent in her NHS role. She got a small pay rise, and she moved to a 2-bedroom flat. Her daughter had her own room for the first time. The morning they moved in, a day that would stay with Claire forever, her daughter walked into her room, stood in the middle of it, and turned around slowly, with an expression on her face that Claire said she will never, for the rest of her life, forget. Like she could not believe the space was hers, it was, truly, a moment of pure joy. Claire went to the kitchen, so her daughter would not see her cry. She stood at the kitchen counter, and cried for about 90 seconds, and then she went back, and helped her daughter arrange her books. That is the thing about being a single mother that nobody tells you, it is a journey of ups and downs. The victories are enormous, and completely private. Nobody throws you a party for moving into a 2-bedroom flat. Nobody marks it as the achievement it is. You just stand at the kitchen counter for 90 seconds, and then go back and arrange the books. By the time her daughter was 8, a big girl, now, Claire had been promoted to team lead. By the time her daughter was 10, growing up so fast, Claire was studying again, healthcare management, a new chapter, in many ways. Part-time and distance learning. On the sofa bed, that was now, just the sofa, because she slept in her own room now. She was 37 when she finished that course, and 38 when she applied for a senior management role. She did not get it the first time, so she applied again the following year, and she got it. She rang her sister, and her sister screamed so loudly that Claire had to hold the phone away from her ear. Her daughter, who was now 11, and too cool to be excited about things, was not too cool for this. She jumped up and down in the kitchen, genuinely, just jumped, like she was 6 again. Claire let her, then made her do her homework, because that is also what single mothers do. I want to tell you how this story ends, but the truth is, it has not ended. Claire is 39 now, her daughter is 12, and she is a senior manager in an NHS trust, in the north of England. She owns her flat, bought it 2 years ago, and she still makes the bare toast sometimes. Her daughter pretends to be too old for it, but she always eats it. Claire posted her story on Reddit, in a thread asking, "What is something you are genuinely proud of, that nobody around you fully understands?" And she wrote, "I left with 47 pounds, and my daughter, and a car with a flat tire. I did not know how any of it was going to work. I just knew I had to make it work. So I did, one barefaced toast at a time." The post got over 12,000 upvotes, 1,400 comments, almost all of them from women, who said, some version of, "This is me," or, "This is my mum," or, "I needed to read this today, more than you know." I think about those comments, and I think about the 1,400 women, who recognized something in Claire's story, who saw themselves in the 47 pounds, or the sofa bed, or the 90 seconds at the kitchen counter, and I think about what it means to tell the truth about hard things, not the cleaned-up version. Not the version where it was hard, but always secretly manageable. The actual version, where you do not know how it is going to work, and the uncertainty can be overwhelming. Where the guilt is relentless, and it weighs heavily on your mind. Where the victories are private and enormous, and nobody throws you a party, but that does not diminish their significance. Where you cry, for 90 seconds, at the kitchen counter, and then go arrange the books, because that is what you do, to cope, to move forward. If you are in your own Tuesday morning, or your own one-bedroom flat, or your own sofa bed phase, I want you to hear this. Not because it will make the hard part easier, it will not. But because the hard part is exactly that, a part, not the whole. And the woman who gets through it, is not someone different from who you are now, but she is exactly who you are now, just further forward, one barefaced toast at a time. Thank you for listening. If this story meant something to you, leave a comment below, tell me where you are, or where you were, or where you are going. I will read every single one. New story next week. You are further along than you think, and that, truly, is something to hold on to.